Hello and welcome to a new episode of Airport CEO here on the channel BongoPlanes. We are back after a little break as Alpha 35 was finally released a few days ago. We will take a first look at some of the many new features that Alpha 35 holds for us while we continue our work with our airport. But before we get too far into today's video, if you should end up enjoying this video, then don't forget to leave a like. That really does help us out. And of course, if you are new around here, why not hit subscribe? Alpha 35 brings a wide range of new features with it. Some are simply cosmetic, but many of them are really improving the overall gameplay. So before we start working on our airport here today, let's quickly run through some of the new features the update has in store for us. Now we have a bunch of new zonings. One of them is International Zone. Really awesome, and we will be playing with that because with that there are a lot of new features coming along. And we also have airline lounges, which is really nice. We won't be able to go through all features today, so make sure not to miss out on the future episodes of Airport CEO here on the channel. What we now finally have in the game as well are elevators. Very, very nice. I'm very much looking forward to work with those. And we also have the walk-elators. We have three types. They have the same width, but they have different lengths. Honestly speaking, I would have hoped that they would have maybe made them that you could drag and drop, so have like a minimum length and a maximum length, but I guess that works as well. We also have a new type of stairs, small stairs. We have vending machines, very cool. Loads of new things here in the game. Let's see what else we have here. This I think looks pretty much the same. They might have updated a little bit again on the graphics here. The same here. I think most of it is the same, but we do have here these small features, ILS system, some blast fences and stuff like that. That's all decoration. I don't think it really adds any features to the game, but it's nice that we have more decorative things. That's really nice. But we continue our trip here through the new features because we also have something here. Now we have self-check-in desks and a small check-in counter. That's really, really awesome. Small check-in counters or check-in desks. And also, yeah, check-in desks. They call it the same. This is basically a luggage drop-off machine, robot, whatever you want to call it. These automated items, as far as I understand, cost more in maintenance, but they can handle more passengers, so it works out. And of course we also have self boarding desks now, really awesome. A lot of automation now coming into the game, things that we of course see in real life already pretty much everywhere at airports these days. Now we also have them here in game. Then we have this international zone, and with that comes passport checkpoints, manned and automated. Really, really awesome. That is a great feature. I really do like that, and we will definitely be playing around with that today because I want to add that to the North Pier of Terminal 1 where we have our wide-body aircraft coming in. Then we also have this really awesome thing here where we have the option now to make restaurants with fully built kitchens. Really, really awesome. I do look forward to that. I don't think we will get around to that in today's episode, but perhaps in the next. And then we have airline lounges. That's really awesome. I tried that out in a test play. Works really simple, but it is a great way of creating additional income for the airport. So that's really, really awesome. And then we have, yeah, these decorative things here, some small statues. It's great to add, for example, in a lounge, for example, at the entrance area or something like that. Then you have these floor mats here that you can use. Really awesome, for example, for the lounges, that you can basically mark that this lounge is for this airline. You do actually also sign basically or tell that this lounge is for this airline specifically when you create it. But we will get into that in the next episode because today we will mainly feature or mainly focus on the international zoning and all that is going into that. We also have some flowers or something, but the graphics doesn't quite work there yet. Still a little bit bugged out. So I don't know how they look, but we do have again here more decorative things, so that's really, really awesome. And then the perhaps biggest feature, at least for me, is that we now have the ability to create terminals. We have the ability to tell the game this is one terminal and another building is another terminal. This is absolutely fantastic. because it will help out with people arriving at the right places. Right now, people will just arrive wherever they want. So they might, for example, arrive what I perceive to be Terminal 3, but they have a flight from Terminal 1. That's not great, obviously. The same goes for staff. Apparently, you can assign staff to a terminal. I haven't figured out or worked out yet how you do that, so I do apologize for that. But if you know, then let me know in the comment section below. Otherwise, I will try to figure out how that works for the next episode of Airport CEO. But anyway, we have the ability here. How exactly you're zoning it out, I'm not entirely sure. When I tried it out the first time, basically, if you create an area, it automatically assigns this is your Terminal 1. If you then make another zone separately from that, it says that's now your Terminal 2. You can also remove these zones again, just so you know, don't worry about that. But obviously my terminals are a little bit, I mean, they're not one, I mean, they are one building, but as you, for example, know, we have these remote buildings which are connected to the main building underground. So if I can just drag and drop, or just drag the entire zone over all of that, or have, for example, have one zone over the main terminal section and then drag another zone over the remote stand, I don't think it will recognize that as being one terminal. I think then it will think it's a separate terminal. So we have to kind of zone this out, and I'm making sure that I'm always connected to the zone that I've already created, just to make sure that it doesn't think I'm making a new terminal. I'm not entirely sure if it is really necessary to do it like this, but that way we're at least sure that yeah, we don't create terminals by accident. So yeah, I'm working my way over to the remote terminal, as you can see here, underground, where we have the check-in desks and so on. I think that could maybe be an area where we really switch over to automation with the automatic boarding desks. But again, that will be something in the future for this series. Loads of new things. I'm really excited about it. The only issue I do experience is that we have a little bit issues with frame rate. However, yeah, I don't know if I can really improve it. We do have a very compact airport design, but I do also think that at the moment we have a lot of issues with our aircraft and passengers not getting to the aircraft and so on, which is obviously because we are working on some things here that can interfere with the normal operations. So I think maybe once we've cleared our flight plan, that might then improve. But anyway, so yeah, it does basically count. So basically when you're zoning out, it's also important to make sure that you're zoning out, for example, all the areas in front of your terminal, because that, as you can see, it says now 70 buses, or that's not 70 buses, but it's like all the taxi stands, the parking lots, the bus stops and so on. It marks it out that this is part of that terminal, which is important because that's where your passengers arrive. So you need to have that zoned in as well as the actual terminal building, so that the game understands this is where people have to arrive if they want to go to this terminal. I'm not sure you need to zone in the aircraft stands. It does seem to recognize those, so I think that's all right. I think that's basically when a aircraft stand is connected to a boarding desk that is within the zone you have made, then it recognizes that this stand belongs to that terminal. I think that's how the logic is. So yeah, I'm really happy with this, because it does mean that we now actually officially have these 3 terminals that we have been talking about and playing around with this whole time, where it was in the beginning just in our heads, our imagination. Now the game actually fully understands it. That's really awesome. And over here at Terminal 3, obviously, I will definitely make a large airport lounge. I wanted to do that before they introduced that feature, and now we can actually do it for real. So that's also really awesome. I'm really happy with this. And what I also would like to say is actually that so far, the update does seem to be really well worked out. I mean, it is a completely new update, so it wouldn't be completely unimaginable that there would be some issues, some bugs. But honestly speaking, I think the only real bug I have seen is that the flowers, at least the preview of the flowers, bugs out. That's it. Everything else seems to be working just fine, so that's really awesome. Alright, so after we have zoned out our 3 terminals, what I would like to start with here are these walkulators. As I said, we have them in 3 different lengths. Yeah, to be honest, I would have hoped that we would have a little bit more flexibility and simply being able to basically drag them and then make them as long or short as we would like, obviously with some minimums and some maximums in that, but still I would have hoped for that. But I'm just happy that we have them. So yeah, that's a really, really cool feature, because it will just improve. We have, with our terminals, we have sections where people have to walk quite far, and with that we can speed up that process. That will increase the happiness of our passengers, and will also help us out with our workers as they can reach their work assignments much faster. So that's really, really, really awesome. So they work really simple. You simply just place them. They are always one directional, obviously. But then, of course, if you want to have traffic in 2 directions with the passengers, then you just place down 2 next to each other in opposite directions. Really, really simple. So I mainly will place them down here in Terminal 1 underground, because that's where we have some sections where people or passengers have to walk relatively far. I don't think I will be able to place them in the other sections of Terminal 1 around the boarding sections of the terminal, because I don't think we really have space for it. But I could imagine that, especially, for example, the connection tunnel from Terminal 1 to Terminal 2 and Terminal 2 to Terminal 3, they would definitely be placed down there, because those are sections where people have to walk really, really far, and that will speed up that process quite much. Although I would imagine that the amount of passengers having to walk these really, really long distances will decrease now that they will simply arrive at the right terminal from the beginning. But still, there might be some people having to walk one way or the other, and then they will be helped out with that. So that's really awesome. So yeah, down here we place them. I think we will also place them over here, because people will go over to the baggage retrieval, which we have over here. But I don't think anyone will ever come from the baggage retrieval over here. I think everyone will only walk 2. So yeah, I guess in this case, having these walkolators, only one direction for the walkolators, will work out. And if they really have to walk back to the terminal from the baggage retrieval, then they will have to walk. But I think, yeah, the main direction will be towards the baggage retrieval. So that's great. Let's also quickly place something down here. It's a bit too long, so let's take the shorter one, the shortest. I guess that's 24 blocks. I think that's why they call them 24, and was it 72? And then, yeah, I think something like that. I think that's the the reason behind the names. Anyway, I'm so happy with that. I am so happy with that feature. Anyway, let's head over to our next task, and that is the international zoning. Actually, just before we get going with that, there is another feature that I quickly would like to show you, because that's pretty much the only one that can have an effect on your current gameplay as such. And the jet bridges, the entrances are now 4 blocks wide instead of 2. This was introduced because quite a lot of users of the game had asked for being able to split up passengers from departing to arriving at the jet bridges. And the only way to do that was simply to make the entrances wider, so you could add a wall in between. I don't think I will be using that, but it just means that the entrances are a little bit wider now, so some of the places we have a little bit of an issue, because we obviously built the airport having the jet bridges 2 blocks wide. So we just need to quickly go through that here at Terminal 1 just to fix the small issues we might have with that. Nothing big, but it's just worth mentioning because that could give you a few issues with your game. It's very quickly solved. You just move the wall and that's all. Alright, so while we have done all of that, let's now work on the international zoning. Basically what you're just telling the game is that in this section of the airport, you would like to operate flights which require passport control. Now, technically, there is no flights that need that in the game because the destinations of the aircraft are still all over the place. But you're just pretending that this is now only international flights. But with zoning it in as an international zone, there is the requirement for passport control. And the passport control comes after security. So when you have departing passengers, they go through security, then through passport, and then they enter into the international zone. When they are leaving, so when they are arriving with an aircraft at your airport, they will go out of the aircraft into the international zone, then they will exit the international zone through passport control, and then leave out through the security zone exits. I tried to add passport control after the baggage retrieval, but that doesn't work because it needs to be placed inside a security zone. So yeah, it has to be before the security exit or after the security check. I will be using a mix between manned passport controls and unmanned passport controls. The manned passport controls will be manned with security officers. So yeah, that will be an additional task for them, which of course also means you might need a few additional workers. The unmanned, they just work on their own. Very, very simple. I'm not sure they at the moment cost more than the manned ones, but I think that's intended, that they will be a little bit more expensive, but then can handle more people. They are simply faster to pass through the unmanned than passing through the manned passport controls. So again, that is a trade-off on both sides. Yeah, so we have done the exit basically now upstairs, so people can leave the international zone before going to the baggage retrieval. Now we will rework how people are entering. We have, with the new update, also gotten a large security checkpoints. Now we have small, medium and large, and I think we will be switching from the mediums here to the large ones, and then place basically after the large security check then the passport control down here, but we just need to move the walls a little bit so we can yeah, get the space we need. All right, so we continue working on this here, placing our passport controls. Again here, I think it will do a mix of manned and unmanned, one manned and then 4 unmanned. We have space for that, that's great. But yeah, what do you think? What do you think about this latest update, the Alpha 35? Have you gotten your hands on it? And if so, what are your thoughts? Do you enjoy it? Or do you think there are some things that could have been done better? I mean, I personally think it's nice. I think it's really, really good. And I can't really put my finger on anything yet that I don't like. But hey, maybe you have gotten a little bit more time into it and have already discovered a few things. Let me know in the comment section below. I would genuinely be interested in hearing your thoughts on the update. And speaking of such, remember when I said there was only one bug so far? I think I've found another one. Yeah, I can't really get rid of the tool for adding the queues. I basically have to press escape. Normally you could just right click. That seems to have bugged out a little bit. But if that's the only 2 issues, then I think it's a really, really a job well done rolling out such a major update to the game. Alright, so we've worked on one side. Now we'll be mirroring the whole thing here on the other side. And then I think we are getting closer to the end of the episode. I don't want to make it too long. We will get to all the other features that we haven't touched on yet here in this episode in the next couple of videos. So yeah, stay tuned for those. But I think we will also quickly head over to Terminal 2 because I think that's an easy place to add a few automated check-in counters. Something we even planned for at Terminal 2 to add over there. So yeah, once we've done over here, let's just quickly finish that up. Then we head over to Terminal 2. Alright, so over at Terminal 2, we don't have much space, but I think that's also something we will be working on in a future episode. But we can already add a few automated check-in counters, or machines, I guess it's called. So let's just put them here. Because I think that would just be a logical place to put them. I think at some point we will replace some of those check-in counters with the baggage drop-off machines. I think that would be a really lovely thing to do, and would also again help out the capacity over at Terminal 2. And I think the same thing goes for Terminal 1. I think there we will also do some of that, but probably not to the same degree as at Terminal 2. So loads of things we want to do. You might have noticed that we have a lot of aircraft that are asking if they should be delayed. We've had quite a few problems with that while recording today's episode, and I think I figured out why. Because while going through the menu here, I noticed that our star situation is catastrophic, which I'm a bit surprised about because I don't remember it being that bad. So I'm not sure if they have tweaked a little bit the amount of workers needed or what is going on here. I mean, we do have quite a lot of flights coming in, but again, I don't remember it being that bad. So that's definitely something we need to work on. We need to hire a lot more workers. And then I need to let my flight plan run out so that we can get a fresh start, because I think right now there are... Yeah, I mean, if you could see... Well, actually, I can show you. I can show the frame rate that I'm playing with right now. So, yeah. This is absolutely terrible. This is the worst frame rate I have ever seen in the game. I have noticed that there are places in the game where the frame rate considerably drops, but not all over the gameplay. This is everywhere I am in the game. This is absolutely insane. I think right now what is the issue is that I have so many passengers that didn't make their flight. I think that's what really drags down the game, and I think once they've been cleared out, it will recover somewhat. But the reason why you don't see this all the time is because I speed up a lot of the gameplay so that it looks smoother than it really is. But as mentioned, I do have an idea how we can at least recover somewhat from it. Now with that, we have reached the end of today's episode. If you have enjoyed it, then feel free to leave a like. That really does help us out. Of course, if you're new around here, you're always welcome to hit subscribe. Also, don't miss out on any future episodes of airportceo here on the channel, because we will continue with Alpha 35 and go through all of the features that we haven't covered yet. With that, I'd like to say thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you soon again. I'm checking out, and bye.